How now, brown cow? How now, cow brown? All right. Ready to get started, man?
Ready to get started.
Good afternoon, this evening, and welcome to another episode of the Black Leather Couch. I believe this is episode 4. Welcome. Today we will be talking about fitness. There's a few things I thought about this guy right here. He's the fitness guy. He's usually who I go to whenever I have a question about fitness, if I don't know it myself. And we're just going to talk a bit about that. There's a few things I had on my mind, like why it's important for people to be fit, how it applies to everyday life, and the industry as a whole. Like what has it become specifically? Like, what do you think about it? Is it helping people? Is it toxic? Is it good, or is it both? Or where is the pendulum right now with the way you see it? So I want to get into all of that. But let's start, man. What I guess the first question that I would ask is, why fitness for you? Like, why did you choose to really get into that niche?
Well,
there's a story there.
No, fitness for me it just came from my background of being an athlete. Started playing football when I was 8. I was pretty good. So I played that. Got into high school, picked up track, started running track a little bit, but that was not. I just did that to do it. I was not interested in track.
Like, kind of stay in shape?
Yeah, just to stay in shape, mess around with the homies and things like that.
Yeah.
But once I got into college and I don't know. I don't know if I really even, because initially I wanted to play in the NFL, right? That was a goal. That was a dream. And I don't even know when I let go of that dream, just because of the circumstances that had come up. But it wasn't even an interest for me anymore once I got to Arkansas to play ball. I was just like, and
is that kind of where when you went to play for Arkansas, is that kind of where the dream kind of faded for you?
I don't even know when it was. I don't know if it was transitioning from City College to Arkansas, or maybe I think it was going from my first year at City College to my second year, because of all the stuff that happened during that time, and it really discouraged me. But I played well enough to get a scholarship still. So, but yeah, I don't know. I was just my mind was really messed up back then. But anyway, so after I was done in Arkansas, I came back to Fresno, and I was just like, it makes sense to go into kinesiology. It just makes sense. So I did that, got the bachelor's degree, kept it going, got the master's degree, wanted to be a strength coach, but I did not make the right connections.
That's what we talked about last time.
Yeah.
Making the right connections.
The right connections. I did not talk to the right people. I didn't do the things. Well, no, I did the things as in, I volunteered. I did a internship at a place called Optimal Rehab in town. I was there for a year, so I did physical therapy stuff.
So you did like the work. Like you went there, you did like on the surface, you're doing everything right. Yeah. Somebody would say, "Oh, this guy's going to be successful in this field," But then you just like, oh, that was that one missing piece. It was the connections.
It was the connections.
Yeah,
the
no
whole
doubt.
time it was the connections. Cause
No doubt.
I graduated with my master's at a 3.2, I believe.
Yeah.
3.2 GPA. I got to go overseas with Team USA.
Yeah.
You know,
I remember
all that stuff was on the resume.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
all that stuff was on the resume, and it did not matter.
Where'd you go?
In the slightest.
For
Taiwan.
Taiwan? Oh, yeah.
I went to Taiwan, bro.
Yeah, that sounds fun, man. What was that like?
It was so surreal. It was so much fun, man. Like, when I got there, I got escorted to the facility by armed guards. I think it was the military. I think it was their military.
No doubt.
So when got put up in a black car and all of the stuff, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is crazy."
Had people standing in front of you with the little walkie-talkies, like,
Yeah, man, and yeah, that was a heck of an experience, man. You just think about the things that God has allowed me to do is pretty.
So when you said when you came back from Arkansas, you said it made sense. Like, what does that mean? It just made sense. Did you? Oh, were you already thinking about it, or somebody put it in your head like you should do this?
Well, actually, I was not putting any thought into it. Honestly, when I came back from Arkansas, dude, I was in a dark place.
Oh, okay,
I was in an extremely dark place in my head, and that shaped a lot of my like early 20s, into my late 20s. Shoot, still now, but I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just like, okay, what can I do to get a degree? I wasn't really thinking like, oh yeah, fitness is it for me, and it was just kind of, it was happenstance, like.
Yeah, dude, because I get it. Like, you're like, oh, what do I do? Do I go back for business? Well, I'm already pretty much an athlete, so I guess this would be the best fit for me, and I can excel at this because I already do. And then went for it.
You know what? Another thing that really kind of turned me on to the human body in general was like when I was living in Arkansas. That was the time, or it was around the time that Usain Bolt ran that 9. I think he ran like a 9.4 in 100 or 9.6 or something. It was something like ridiculously fast, and I was like, how the heck can a human do that? And that was like, that's really interesting. I wonder, and I think that's kind of when I was like, I want to be a coach. I want to be a coach.
Bro, I'm trying to tell you, man. So, cause you were my trainer for a while, and I'm sure there were some things you were frustrated with the facility and the facility owner, or maybe some of the other people who were training there with you. And I was just like, bro, if you were to be a football coach like you wanted to be, you times that by like 5 to 10, cause really, I'm sure there's a whole lot of frustrations that go with that. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so that's where you got your degree. Like, you came back, you were just like, okay, I got my degree. You went and got your master's, 3.2 GPA, and then you kind of like developed a passion, because I know you read a lot of books and stuff that have to deal with the human body. Mm-hmm. So did that just like develop through through you getting your master's, or was that just something that just kind of clicked too?
So reading came from going to Spain. I mean, I'm coming back from Spain, going to that entrepreneurship event.
Okay.
Like prior to that, man, I was not really trying to further my education outside of what was necessary to graduate.
Okay.
So I didn't really start reading a crap ton of books until about like 2017. I was like, we had just come back from Spain and we went to that event, and then that's when my mind kind of exploded. Like, Like, dude, there's so much more out there than what's going on in your little box right now.
Yeah.
And that's when I started reading books. I started reading, Rich Dad Poor Dad was one of the first books.
That's the entry. That's the gateway drug right there.
Yeah,
Rich
that
Dad,
one,
Poor Dad.
and Think and Grow Rich.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, those ones. I even remember when we were trying to do like a little book club between me, you, and Aunt at his house.
Oh,
we would
yeah.
read a chapter a week.
That's right. Right.
But that's what really kind of sparked my interest. Like, but prior to that, I was not reading anything outside of school stuff.
Right.
And there's a saying out there. It's in Tennessee. I think it's in Texas, but I think not.
It might be in Texas. Definitely in Tennessee.
There's a saying out there. It's like the guy who doesn't read, the guy who doesn't read is just as bad as a guy who doesn't know how, or something to that effect. Or a guy who doesn't know how to read is just as good as a guy who doesn't, or something like that, right?
Right. So if you know how and you don't, you're just as good as somebody who doesn't know how.
Yeah, exactly. And if anyone knew you didn't know how to read,
I don't know how to read,
you'd probably be offended. Or if I walked up to you and said, "Look, you don't even know how to read," and I really was just, you'd be offended about it.
Yeah,
right?
bro. I got you. But I wouldn't be offended because I don't know how
but
to
I'm
read.
still offended.
Yeah, but I'm still offended. Bro, I think for me, because really I don't really have. I just want to look a certain way. Ever since I was like in high school, I remember just being this skinny kid who, like 135, which is just 2 plates, that was it for me. I was just like, oh, if I could get to 135, I win. So I did the bar, and everybody in school, was big. Like I had to, well, not everybody, but all the athletes who I used to hang around with were big. They were playing football. They could bench 235. They could bench, three plates. You know what I'm saying? They were 305. It was no problem to them. And I'm stuck at one. I think it was like 105 or something ridiculous like that. That I couldn't do it. And so when I finally got to 135, man, I was like, oh, I'm doing something, man. I thought I made it. I got to 135 and went up, and then I started working out with your dad, and we were doing all kind of crazy stuff back when Bally's was a thing. Remember the Bally's? And I remember one day I was just there doing cardio, and I was running, and I couldn't feel a thing. Like I was just running. My legs didn't hurt. I felt like I was floating. And I was just like, man.
It's that runner's high.
I wasn't even, it might have been, but it started immediately. I didn't get tired, nothing. I was just running. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, dude, I could do this. I think I was running for a good 30 minutes, just straight. I don't know if it was on 3, 4, 5. I don't know what it was, but I know I was in a jog. And I was like, bro, if I could do this forever, that would be great.
Yeah, man.
And that's only happened like 2 or 3 times because I'm really not a runner. But really just, having that confidence, that's what really, because me, bro, I hate going to the gym. Like if I could get fit without going to the gym, I think like 90% of people agree with that. But if I can get fit without going to the gym, I would do that. Like if I could pay double what I pay at the gym and not go, I would probably do that. Because it's just boring to me. But I also like the soreness. You know what I mean? Like after you get out the gym and you just feel like you can't do nothing.
Feeling of accomplishment.
Yeah, but I'm still offended. Feeling of accomplishment, man. Just like feeling like, oh, I can't move, man. I know my muscles are growing, and I've always liked that feeling. But I don't know, man. Just being able to feel confident about yourself, there's something in that. Mm-hmm. Being able to wear a shirt that you like and it actually fit the way you like. You know what I mean? There's something about that, and that's really it for me. I don't really have a passion for it, although I do recognize the importance of it. You know, when you work out, you get more energy. Things are just a lot easier. You think clearer. Like you always say, you know, there's a lot of benefits, a lot of brain benefits to working out in the morning or working out before you do like some crazy brain, something that requires a lot of brain energy or brain power. It really helps out a lot, man. Mm-hmm. And I've actually noticed that, but yeah, man, dude, you notice it a lot because it's been like months, you know, that I didn't go to the gym at all, or I would go for like a couple days out the week for 1 week, and then for like 3 months after that, don't do anything. So, and I'm still paying the fat tax, which is just paying the gym,
paying the gym not to go,
not to go. But yeah, man, I was doing that for a while, and I know I needed to go, but just didn't go.
Yeah. One thing you were saying is that you go to the gym. If you could get fit without going to the gym, then you would do that.
I would do that.
I think what he was saying was get fit without working out. Because you can get fit without going to the gym, y'all. You can get fit without That's equipment. True. You can get fit without stepping foot into the gym. You could do it at home. You could do it outside. It's really where you like to do things, and it doesn't even have to be weightlifting. I advocate for strength training a lot because I understand that it increases the quality of your life. In terms of, you being able to move around, you be able to get up and sit down without issue when you get old. I mean, people in today's society, people at 50, 60 years old, they're having a hard time moving. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, you still potentially have another 30 years to live after that. You know? So what do you think is going to happen?
Right.
And then one of the top killers of older people is falling, because they fall, they break their hip or do something crazy, they need a hip replacement, and they're bed bound, and then they it just ruins their lives. The
quality of life goes down.
And then it's like, why am I even alive right now? Yeah. I can't do anything.
Right.
And people don't think about that until it's too late.
You know what? I didn't even think about that. That's a great point. 'Cause if you feel worthless and just like your quality goes down, and then you get depressed, and that depression can affect your health heavily.
Oh, for sure.
Stress.
And you lose hope, man. I think that's a really big thing, is losing hope. There was I think it was the Vietnam War. When they would kind of scrape the field for bodies and things like that. They would find people who had died with no bullet holes, nothing physically wrong with their bodies, but the belief is that they just lost hope and just died. And that's really heavy, man. That's super heavy.
Wow. That, you know what? That's you don't think about that, but yeah, that's true. Because I definitely felt that way for a while, especially after my car wreck. I was just sitting in the bed, wanting to do stuff. Even afterwards, even sometimes now that my knees are jacked up, it just feels like, man, I wish I could do more. Mm-hmm. But less so now. A lot less so now, but yeah, there was that feeling of, what the heck am I doing? I didn't want to die, but definitely feel that worthlessness. Mm-hmm. So yeah, definitely. So let's pivot, man. when you're working out, so we know the importance of working out. Let's talk about diet, man. Let's talk about diet. Let's talk about the people who, people I know, not not me, but people who eat like trash, but still go to the gym. How important is it to have a good diet?
It's one of the most important things. Like if someone was to ask me, should I eat good or should I go to the gym? I would probably say eat good. Because if you think about it, our cells are made up from the foods that we eat, you know, because our cells, they have a life cycle just like anything else. And if you don't know, we're made up of trillions of cells, right? We're a bunch of little dots put together into, you know.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah,
little dots.
we're a bunch of little dots melded into one big dot. But those cells are created by the foods that you put into your body. And so it's like knowing that your brain is made up of what you eat, would you go and pick a salad after knowing that, or would you go to McDonald's drive-thru?
I go to Arby's.
Yeah,
we have the meats.
Yeah, so that's we're literally making our bodies out of the food that we're eating. So nutrition is just super, super, super important. And
what percentage would you give it?
If we're talking about body transformation?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we're talking about body transformation. I'd probably say like an 85%.
Golly. So it really doesn't. You'll see a minimal change if you go to the gym like 5 days a week, but you're still eating McDonald's. You barely see anything.
Well, no, because you will lose weight depending on your calorie intake, right? So if there was a study done by a professor, I think he was in Kentucky, and he ate McDonald's, Oreos, and Twinkies, I believe, and drank protein shakes. That was his diet, and he lost I think it was over like 35 pounds because he was in a calorie deficit.
Oh, so he didn't binge on it. He just ate whatever his macros were,
right? And
he still lost weight.
Yeah, exactly. And you can do that, but sugar is
addictive.
Yeah, so
you ain't gonna just eat a small fry.
Yeah, so you're really fighting against yourself when you do stuff like that.
Right.
When you eat foods that are like really, really, really processed, which today is like 60% of the American diet is highly processed foods. So pretty much every food that you buy on the shelf is processed, you know, at some extent. But you have minimally processed, you have highly processed. Highly processed would be like a Twinkie. That's not even a real food. Or Kraft Singles.
The cheese.
That's not. Yeah, I think I want to say it's Kraft Singles that they can't even call it cheese because it's so processed. It's like a cheese flavored styrofoam. Yeah, basically is what it is. Yeah, and
doesn't even melt right.
Yeah, so then you got, you know, you putting the stuff into your body, and it's just you can still lose weight, y'all. At the end of the day, it is about calories in, calories out, but people oversimplify what that means, right? So calories in obviously is how much food you're eating. That's the easy thing to track. Right. Calories out is extremely hard to track because you have these different categories of things. So like your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, that is how many calories your body uses just to be still, right? So you have all of these processes going on in you, and then there's a bunch of different factors. There's like, you know, how well did you rest? How much body fat do you have compared to lean tissues? Your height, your weight, genetics plays a role in that. There's just all of these different things, and that's your BMR. Then you have something called the thermic effect of food, which is the food that you eat. How many calories is it taking you to break down those foods and disperse it in the body? You know,
Gotcha.
and you just have all of these different factors about calories out, and then it changes. So that BMR, that same BMR, so you have a BMR of you burn, you know,
2,800.
Oh, that would be a lot. That'd be
1,500.
well, yeah. So say you're burning 1,500 one day, but you slept 2 hours a night, one night, and then, you know, so then the next day you don't burn 1,500, you burn maybe 1,200 or 1,000. And then because you're so tired and you need the energy, your body produces hormones to make you eat more.
Is that the what is that called? I forgot what it's called. What is that hormone called that makes you eat more?
You have leptin and ghrelin.
Oh, I didn't know that. I was thinking of something else. I was thinking the cortisol. That's what I was thinking of.
Oh, the stress hormone.
Yeah.
So there's just so many different things that goes into the pot. So it truly is calories in, calories out, but it's not. It's a simple concept. It's not easy at all. So that's why it's so important to track your food going in, because really that's your measurement.
Right.
Right.
Okay. So there obviously, I mean, there's going to be quality, right, of food. Like if you were to say, you know, like you said, eat the salad or go to McDonald's. So how important is that? Like, you get all your, say you were to get all your calories from eating, you know, the best foods like chicken, rice, vegetables, versus McDonald's, you know, processed food and Kraft singles. How important are those two things?
Really important, because there was actually a study done where they had it was just like a ham sandwich, something typical, but one sandwich was made of whole foods, you know, so they had like the wheat, you know, all of the real stuff, and then they had the other sandwich, identical in calories and macros, but the other sandwich was processed, and our bodies absorbed way more of the whole foods than it did the processed food.
Got you.
So they still ate the same amount of calories, but they were satiated with the whole food, and they were not with the processed food.
Because that stuff is built to make you the processed stuff is built to make you eat more of it. Right? Exactly. That's crazy.
Yeah. So food quality is really, really important, but any person who is on either end of the spectrum is typically wrong. Like if it's only calories in, calories out, like if it fits your macros, that's a huge thing. Does it work? Yeah, but is it sustainable? And then is that sustainability going to improve the quality of your life, or is it not?
Right. Because sustainability is a big deal. If you quit and go right back to the bad stuff, then what was the point, right?
What was the point? And not everybody wants to track their calories their whole life.
That's true.
So, and then you have the people on the other side are just like, oh, just eat fruits and your vegetables and whole foods and things. Then you still have the energy balance to deal with. So you can eat a crap ton of, you could be a vegetarian, eat a crap ton of food, and still be eating more calories than you're burning and still gain weight.
Wow.
You know, so same thing for the vegans and all of those things. So it's definitely it's definitely a balance that you want to put into it, and I think everybody should track their calories at some point, because
I have the hardest time with that. But go ahead.
Yeah, well, people have no clue. I believe a lot of people's idea of how much they're eating is off by at least 30%.
Wow.
At least.
Yeah, because we don't count the snacking.
You don't count the snacking, and then you assume that a portion size is a lot bigger than it really is. So then you're like, oh well, this says a portion size is 80 calories, but when you put it in your bowl or you put it on your toast, you really put three portions on there.
Right.
Because you're just guessing, right? You're just guessing.
Dude, yeah, that's crazy. The serving sizes are so confusing too. It just is like you eat a bag of chips, right? And then it has all these different nutritional facts on the side of it. 30 grams of sugar, 250 milligrams of sodium, whatever. It goes down the list. And then it has a serving size of 3 chips. You're just like, so if you times that by 12, that's what I actually ate.
Yeah,
in the bag.
Exactly. and yeah, so be careful with that when you guys are looking at that thing, because sometimes it'll say, you'll just look at the bag and see 160 calories. You're like, great. Yeah. By the time you get to the end of that bag, you realize it was 160 calories, but there were also 4.5 servings in that bag. Yeah. So you just ate like 1,000 calories almost,
It doesn't tell you like the per serving. I mean, I don't know why it just doesn't tell you this is how much is in the bag. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, different foods do.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because that would be a lot more helpful. But then maybe I think people would probably still buy it, but maybe not as many. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Especially when you're trying to be health conscious, you're just thinking like, it was 160 calories. I could spare that, and you eat the whole bag, and it's like, you're right back in it.
Yeah, and these foods have been modified to make you eat more. Right. That's literally, the food industry. They hire scientists to modify the foods, so there's just the very specific amount of crunch to it, very specific amount of salt and sweetness to it. Yeah. They modify these things to excite things in the brain. Mm-hmm. And then the calories, there's no nutrients in the foods that you're eating, so
it's just
it's just empty, right? And then you can eat endless amounts of it. So
cha-ching.
Yeah, exactly. So
wow.
So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, man. It's definitely not an easy thing to go through.
I did notice too, like when you eat better, you do feel more satiated, but it's not as fun. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's just like you eat. Like I bought some potatoes the other day, and I had some chicken with it, and some other stuff, and I ate it all, and I was full. I was like, man, I'm full. But then right after that, I had something bad. I was like, I want another one. Like, even though more calories might have been in the thing I ate. Let's just say a piece of cheesecake. I don't know, but you think like, oh man, I want more of that, but I don't want more of this, even though this made me feel better in the long end. It's just like, it's not fun. Yeah. It's not fun like the cheesecake or whatever.
Right. Yeah, and I'm a cheesecake fiend.
Yeah.
I love cheesecake. I love cheesecake. But yeah, it's definitely it's super important to choose quality. And the principle is the 80-20 principle, right? 80-20 rule.
Always.
So you got to have balance, y'all, because even sometimes eating too much of something that is considered healthy. Like I use my aunt for example. She found this tea, and I can't remember what it did for her, but it was a healthy tea, and she was just drinking that crap all the time. Put her in the hospital. It was like ended up jacking up her liver. and she had to go through some type of detox, and it was just bad. So
Was it a flat tummy tea?
Nah, it was like some peach. It was some like exotic thing. It was like, it wasn't something you would just accidentally grab. You would have to know what you was doing.
Right.
But yeah, she drank too much of it, and sometimes the mild stress that your body goes through eating, let's call them fun foods or whatever, is a good thing. Sometimes the mild stress anywhere is pretty much going to be a good thing. So
the good stuff, the fun stuff. The thing is, though, man, we grow up eating that stuff, dude. It's just like all the sodas. I remember I lived on sodas, man. It's like, what the heck is water? But yeah, man, that's real talk, and I think that's where it needs to start too, is with the kids. Make sure that they're you start them off getting used to eating, boring stuff, because
well, see, you can't say that.
Stuff.
Yeah, you can't say that.
Yeah, no, I get it.
You can't say that, because then it's gonna be like, oh, why am I?
No, I'm not gonna tell them okay. You don't tell the kids it's boring. I mean, hey kids, you want this boring broccoli? What? That's a weird adjective, but yeah, no, definitely you want to put it in front of them a lot. I think if I had more discipline growing up in that respect, it would be a lot easier to eat better.
Yeah, but I mean, we're not taught that. We just aren't taught that, and the way the society is moving, they encourage more eating and less movement. Obesity really wasn't a prominent thing until the 50s. Mm-hmm. That's when it really started introducing itself, and it's just skyrocketed since then.
Yeah.
And for those people who want to say it's genetics, like, do you think our genetics stayed the same since Adam all the way up until the 50s and then just magically shifted? It's like no, people were active. People were not eating a bunch of junk. We weren't addicted to our cell phones.
Right.
So
we are leading the world right now in obesity.
Yeah, and it's pretty much the developed worlds.
Wow.
The developed countries.
The first world countries. Yeah.
Like I know Australia and New Zealand, they're not too far behind. But
definitely UK.
Yeah. UK
is getting up there too.
Yeah. And it starts with the habits. What are you teaching your kids to eat? Are you just buying them the warm up microwave food because it's convenient for you to do that? And yeah, the cooking is not always convenient. But what's the ultimate outcome? What are you trying to get to?
So let's talk about that. So we talked about the importance of fitness. We talked about the importance of diet. Let's talk about how that can improve you. I mentioned lightly how it improves brain function and gives you more energy. Mm-hmm. Like let's talk more about that. Like why even do it? Why even spend the time, money, and energy focusing on my fitness?
Mm-hmm. So, man,
there's so many, right? That's facts.
There are too many benefits. Like if you look at just like how you are thinking throughout the day, which is something that people don't really pay attention to. It's directly impacted by what you put in your body and then what you did that morning and the night before. Like, are you sleeping and resting and all of those things? But in terms of like, everything's interconnected. You can't have one thing without the other. So if exercise is going to influence every part of your life. It's not just oh, I want to look a certain way. It's going to change the way you think, and then it's going to change the way you feel about yourself. And then from there, it's kind of Pandora's box. Like, you can pretty much go any direction with it, you know. And I was just talking to one of my old students on my fitness podcast, and she was talking about how confidence in the gym has helped her confidence at work as a level 1 trauma nurse. Just knowing like, hey, I can do things, I can move weights, I can, you know.
Right.
And she's like, that directly translates to how I do my job.
Right.
So all of that stuff is connected. And brain function, like dementia is skyrocketing right now. And they call dementia type 3 diabetes because typically the vast majority of the diseases that are out here taking folks out can be traced back to diet and inflammation. Right. And it's diet. It's not even necessarily exercise. You know, and they call it type 3 diabetes because it's a blood sugar issue. Right. You know, and then we have all of these plaques and things that are accumulating in the brain, and then when you don't get enough sleep, you don't go through deep sleep, you don't have that it's like a brain wash that your body goes through.
Right.
It's called the glymphatic. So you have your lymphatic system, right? You have lymph nodes and all of this stuff that goes in your body, right? You have the glymphatic system in your brain,
right?
And pretty much when you're sleeping, our bodies are freakish, by the way, just to let you know. While you're sleeping, the I'll call them crevice in your brain separate, so your brain shoots liquid through, like, just imagine like a tunnel system, right? It shoots liquid through your brain and kind of removes the plaques, like pushes the plaques out of the way, and it kind of drains it.
That reminds me of those commercials that they show sometimes where it's like a Listerine or whatever. It comes in and removes all the plaques and stuff. Yeah.
So that's pretty much what it does in your brain. But when you're overeating just nasty bad foods for your body, there's something called a blood-brain barrier, right? And some of those foods can seep through and sit on your brain and cause inflammation in the brain.
Just wreck it.
It just wreaks havoc, man. When you putting bad stuff in your body, like,
bro,
it's just a.
I like what you were saying earlier too about your friend who's the trauma nurse, having confidence just from knowing that you can handle a situation. You know, there's something that to me, because when I feel fit, I feel like, you know, I can handle things that are coming my way, and that directly translates to my confidence level, which directly translates into how I deal with people, and people can literally see the confidence on your face.
Yeah.
Like, they know, like, we're intuitive creatures, and we can tell when somebody is, they're not confident in themselves by like how their shoulders sit, or how, you know, the way they talk to you, the tone and all that stuff. And fitness is, I think, well, for me, and I think a lot of people too, is just like a good foundation for that. Like, a lot of people, even like, you think of Jeff Bezos, right? He recently, you saw what he looked like before, and you look at what he looks like now, and you can tell like he's probably taking some TRT. You know what I'm saying? He's doing something. Yeah. But why do that when you have all this money already? Is because physically, you know, people may respect you a little bit more. Like, he probably has all the accolades and respect or whatever. Physically, people might respect you a little bit more. You might respect yourself a little bit more, and that directly translates into how you another quality of life. You know what I mean? So I know that I can tackle this thing, right? And then it makes you want to get up. It makes you more likely to want to get up and do things, you know, once you know you can.
Yeah.
Because I know when I know I can, I'm just like, oh, I don't feel like getting up. Why even try? Whatever, like you were saying earlier, why even try? But it makes a whole lot more sense when, you know, you excuse me, when you know you can tackle whatever comes your way.
Yeah, and health and fitness is a medicine. Health and fitness, nutrition and fitness is a medicine for everything. Literally a medicine for everything. Like, y'all, I know most people have heard the saying, let food be thy medicine. And exercise just it boosts your immune system. You know, it increases cellular communication. It just does all types of stuff. And then when you partner and pair that with nutrition, good foods, and then there's like so much going on, so much research going on right now with the gut.
The gut biome or the butt biome.
Yeah, the gut. So the gut microbiome. There's so much stuff going on with that right now, and it has your gut has direct connection to your brain.
That freaked me out when he said that, because it makes sense too.
Yeah, direct connection to your brain, and it's telling your brain, well, hey, you know, we got this much food, we need this much nutrients, we got this and we got that, like, you know, and it's just all in communication at all times, man. And what you put in your body, it can either ruin you, you know, or it can make you. So
I play I'm gonna play it again pretty soon. But I played a lot of Cyberpunk 2077, and there's this scene in there, or there's this company in the game. It's called All Foods, and it has this person that's made out of food. It's kind of freaky looking, but I remember those old commercials where it used to have like the fruit kind of like animate into a person, and then the person talks to you. You are what you eat. You know, freak me out. Yeah. But that's literally true, and you can feel the difference too when you wake up. You're just like, you know, like, oh shoot, man, this feels good. Yeah. And then throughout the day, because there's something to be said too about that immediate gratification you get from eating bad stuff, right? Because that will give you what is it called? Like, it releases some endorphins, right? And it releases some hormones that says
serotonin,
dopamine, all that stuff. It's like, oh, this is good. That's why you see a lot of people who are foodies be foodies. They even look at the food, right? And it's like food porn. It's just like, oh man, I wish I was there. But there's something to be said about that. So I don't think by any stretch of the imagination we're saying it's easy, but it's definitely worth it.
Yeah,
definitely worth it. Because people will treat you differently. I know. The reason I say that too, the reason I keep harping on that is because I remember going to the store and I was like in worse shape than I am now. Actually, I was in good shape. I was working out with you, right? And hey, how's it going? Right? You know, how you doing? But after, you know, months of no exercise, eating terribly, when they're way out of shape, it's completely different. Like, oh, here's your change, throw it on the floor. You know what I'm saying? Get out of my face. Yeah. But, you know, and I think that they probably saw that in me, like, oh, this guy's not confident about himself. It's just human nature is what it is. You know, it just says, you know, we're going to treat this person a certain way, and because this is what they're showing us, and we're going to treat this person in a certain way because, you know, he's He
doesn't respect himself, so why should I?
Right, exactly. He doesn't respect himself. That's a good one. right. If you come in there with a little bit of confidence, it is so important, man. That's why I started doing this mess with you every day. It's just I want to look better, I want to feel better, and I think that's worth the time and money in itself.
Yeah, and the outputs that you're gonna have will be so much different. Like when you're sleeping well, when your body's feeling good, you're able to think at a different level. You know, when brain fog, for example, brain fog is really wrecking people's lives these days,
bro.
And you can't think. You can't think. Like, we already have a really hard time thinking as it is. Everybody's in reaction mode all the time. But to add brain fog, and then it even goes into things like how your tissues repair themselves after trauma. You know, and then I often think of Dr. Sebi.
I don't know who that is.
You haven't heard of Dr. Sebi?
I don't know who that is.
So Dr. Sebi.
Oh, man.
Dr. Sebi healed people with things like HIV, cancers, herpes, things like that with food. And he did it out of his house.
Government.
And then the government, he went to court. He went to court because they were I forgot what the case was about, but it was either he was practicing medicine without being licensed or some junk like that, or
something.
Yeah, or he was providing false something like pretty much like false advertisement, something like that, right? Like
they're saying that you're going to produce results that you can't produce, you can't provably produce.
Right. So they took him to court. He went to court, had all the documentation. He was healing people with HIV and things like that with food, bro.
Yeah.
So it's like our bodies, and this is my belief personally. Okay, Christian background.
Ring the opinion bell, bro.
Yeah, in my opinion, God made us to live forever. So when he made Adam and Eve, they were perfect beings, not in like thought or anything like that. Well, probably because sin wasn't introduced to the world yet.
Right.
So perfect beings, and we have that DNA.
The perfect gene, right? DNA.
We have that DNA in our bodies, and I just think we are so capable of so much more that either we have forgotten about because of circumstance, or people trying to hide knowledge, like governments and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, why solve the problem when you can make so much money from treating it?
Yeah, so
keep it going.
Yeah, so your body is a temple, man, and it truly affects everything. Everything is interconnected. Like,
I was watching something, I think it was on YouTube, they're talking about, because at the end of every DNA cell, the telomeres, right? And those are the things that get eroded over time, because they were saying the reason that we age, the reason that we get older and age is because of our body's inability to copy our cells effectively, or copy the DNA more effectively, right? It loses that ability to copy DNA, and it gets more eroded, and then that's why we get how we get when we get older. And so I saw this thing where they actually said that they've found how to remedy that. They found a way to keep it going. I don't know how effective that's going to be. They said they were able to reverse it in mice. So they already tested it on mice, and they said that reversed them so many they tested it on for so many days or months, and then they noticed that they were different from the other mice. But to me, man, it just seems like we're not going to be able to stave off death forever because of sin, because of the way, whatever that thing we ate, that the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil.
Knowledge of good and evil.
Right. Whatever was in that, that wrecked us. It just started this chain because they did live for hundreds of years.
Right.
Before the flood. So that I don't know what changed, but something obviously did change. I just thought it was really interesting, that they said that they found a way to reverse it or stop it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think they said reverse it because if you can get a piece of DNA that is like the original, then yeah, you can reverse it.
Right. Interesting stuff, but one thing that I can say for sure is you cannot trust the government. You cannot trust you cannot trust the FDA. You cannot trust
we're about to get canceled.
Any of these other big entities that like the goal for them is profits. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't really believe in that junk, but if you follow how the systems are set up and you look at the health care systems that are abroad and you look at ours in America, it's jacked up, and healthcare costs are going up 20% every year over year. It's going to collapse the economy at some point because they're just so greedy, and they don't care about you. They don't care about the outcome. There's a book called Sickening that I started to read. I haven't gotten back to it, but just I read the introduction and some of the first chapter, and there was a drug that was released, and this was back in, I want to say 2006. There's a drug that was released, and it had killed 40,000 people. And they still had it on. They still released it and put it on the shelves.
Wow,
40,000 people.
And I bet you they hid that number somewhere somehow.
Yeah, well, if you look at the process of how a drug is introduced to the shelves, it's like, okay, well, it has to go through clinical trials. Who is providing the money for the clinical trials? The drug company, and then who is getting the results for the clinical trials? The drug company. Who is presenting those results to government figures? The drug company. And then who's selling those drugs to doctors? The drug company, right? And then you have lobbyists, you have, people who are put in high places who are partnered and in business relationships with major drug companies. So it's like
that's a what? $1 billion, maybe $1 trillion industry right there, man.
Oh, trillions.
Messing with that money, dude. That they can't. They don't want to touch that money.
Yeah, and according to this book, I haven't done my own research and fact checked it or anything, but apparently Moderna and Pfizer made. I think they said it was like $3.2 billion after that recent vaccine that they just came up with.
Yeah.
The recent
the recent coronavirus. Is it a strain or a variant?
From the original virus. The original virus. I don't want to say it because I don't want to get us canceled. But the or shadow banned.
Too late.
But from 2020 to 2022, they profited. It was like somewhere around like 3.2 billion, or maybe it was 32. I want to say it was 3.2 though. It was, I think last time when I was reading that, it was back in December, so I can't really remember exactly. But they're just profiting hand over fist, man. and the people are the things that are suffering.
We're the ones who pay the price.
Yeah.
We're the ones who are going to end up carrying the weight, like always. Okay, so we've gone there. Let's talk about the industry, man. I know there's a lot of controversy right now with the industry as far as like people taking, steroids, people, then there's the thing about genetics. Then there's these people who claim to be like weight loss. They give you this pill, like I don't know, let's just say a hydroxycut. I don't know any other pill. I can't think of any other one off the top of my head. But they claim to have this miracle drug that's gonna make you lose weight and you can eat whatever you want still. Or even that one that we talked about last time, where you take a $1,300 injection every 2 weeks and you can lose weight that way, which could work. I don't know anything about it. It may not be healthy. It doesn't sound like it. But what do you think about the weight loss, the fitness industry as a whole?
I think there are a lot of people who want to do good, and there's a lot of people who want to make money. And then there you have some people that want to do both. The extreme cult-like, sex, I would stay away from those. Like anybody who tells you that you have to be vegan, or the carnivore people, you have to eat this way, it's just marketing ploy. It's just a marketing ploy.
The liver gang.
Yeah. So everything, there's a method for everyone, right? It's about what you can stick to. It's not about, oh, this has some magical benefit. I know for keto, for a while, people thought that it was some enhancement. It's like, no, it's just a different way to eat in a calorie deficit. That's what it comes down to. And then you just have to ask yourself, can I see myself eating this exact way a year from now? Is it sustainable for my life? Not can I drop 15 pounds in the next week? Because then you're getting into, you opening a can of worms doing that. The yo-yo dieters, our bodies have built-in defense mechanisms that will literally stop you from absorbing calories. It'll just preserve itself, because that's what its job is.
Right.
So the quick dieting, the yo-yo dieting, the crash diets is really damaging you for the long term.
Yo-yo diet, is that like eating a bunch and not eating a bunch? I've never heard of that.
So yo-yo dieters are people who diet then stop, then diet then stop.
Oh,
then
okay.
Diet, then
Yeah.
stop,
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
So me. No.
But yeah, so for the fitness industry, there are some people who really have good intentions. There are some people like V-Shred who are tainting the industry.
I would agree with you.
So just be careful, and if anyone tells you an extreme, okay, if it has to be a certain way, just close your book up and go the other way, and I read a lot of different perspectives, but I know that a balanced perspective is the best one.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, can I see myself counting calories for the rest of my life? Can I see myself doing carb cycling for the rest of my life? And if you can, that's probably the diet for you. If you can't, that's not the diet for you. And I would advise against doing it for the short term, because you're going to mess up your long term.
Because you think, oh, it didn't work that time. For the first month I tried it, it may not work forever, so I might as well just stick with what I'm doing. And then you might go deeper into whatever you were doing before. Is that yo-yo? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it.
I was was thinking about that. This one guy I was watching, Elliot Holes. He's like, you got to make love to the fact that it's gonna take like some years. It's not gonna take. I mean, you're gonna see some results in 3 months, 6 months, but it's gonna take, especially if you're all the way on the other side of the spectrum, like just completely out of shape. It's gonna take a year, 2, 3 years for you to see the results you want to see.
Mm-hmm.
So I like what you said about that. So let's talk about that too, the results.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of perpetrators in the industry like V-Shred. I don't know exactly what you were saying about him, like how he's tainting the industry. I know there was a lot of things said about him. The way I saw him eating pizza one time. Said, "Oh yeah, I love to eat pizza, and you can still do this and still look like V-Shred. You can
mm-hmm.
look like me." I think there are a lot of misconceptions out there when it comes to the actually getting in shape. Like when you see these people promoting these things and they look like V-Shred, you know what I'm saying, just completely shredded.
Mm-hmm.
People thinking that if they do what he does, they're gonna look exactly like V-Shred.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they go, I think Chris Hemsworth had a he had an app, right? Or does he still have one? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't tried it out yet. But then there's the Athlean X guy. Anyway, these guys are all just like ripped.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I think there's a misconception out there that says if you do what these guys do for, I don't know, however long, you're gonna look like these guys. Because their physiques are like, even without PEDs, their physiques are just like top 5% of humans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, not everybody's gonna look like that.
Mm-hmm. And I think a small percentage of people really want to look like that. It's even me. Only reason I want to be shredded at any point is to see what I look like. Like, I don't really, in terms of maintaining that, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to be on a strict diet all the time to maintain that. Like, I'm not interested. But I think for people who are misleading people on purpose, saying that, you got to take this protein and you'll look like me after being on juice for 12 years. It's like, it's a bad look. But I think, like, we were having a discussion at the gym the other day with Sean, like people like Simeon Panda.
Oh yeah.
He looks how he looks. He's probably taken something. But I don't really know how I feel about that. I'm kind of feel indifferent about it because I've never heard him say, "Oh, look like me," but look like me by doing this, or he's never denied, or apparently he's ignored someone asking him if he's taken steroids or not. But
yeah, he just doesn't answer the question.
Yeah, but then so what you have to look at is what's realistic for you and what do you really want.
Right.
Or what do you really want? You don't have to be shredded to be healthy. You don't have to be shredded to love your body. But yeah, the industry is just, you got a lot of people out here that want to make some money.
They do, man. They do. I mean, you think about it too. That sells. People. I was watching what's that movie called? Clash of the Titans. And I was watching that movie and I compared it to the Hercules movie with The Rock. And the people in Clash of the Titans, you can tell that they probably don't hit the gym a lot, because their arms were the arm vest or whatever they were wearing was like flowing over their arm, right? You couldn't really see their bicep or their chest, really. It was just like these skinny guys, and it was realistic. That's probably what guys, they weren't all huge, back then. But then you look at something like 300, with Leonidas and his ripped band of Spartans. And you know what?
They probably really looked
that way. They really did look that way.
Because they were bred for that. That's what their lifestyle was.
It really was. Like from a child, you were put out there. Like, what is it like? Bred for this.
One of my favorite movies.
Heck yeah, the movie's dope. But you think about that. And yeah, that was probably realistic. Those guys were monsters. Which one sold more? Of course, 300 went crazy. Yeah. Clash of the Titans, it was all right. I don't feel any particular way about it, but that definitely does sell. Like whatever product, Simian Panda selling. What's the guy's name? V Shred. Jeff, I forgot the guy's name from Athlenex.
I want to say Carnivore, right? Jeff Cavalier.
Oh, yeah. Jeff Cavalier. Yeah. Or even most recently, the Liver King. You know what I mean?
King, yeah.
He was selling like crazy, but he was definitely, he was in denial, but he was definitely on something. So there's, like you said, though, I like what you said. There's a lot of people who want to make money. There's people who want to change lives, and then there's people in between who know they can do both, but the make money crowd, they make the money faster,
by any means, like regardless of if I'm misleading people or
right. Those are
stuff.
Sociopaths. Like you just ruin people's lives like that.
Yeah. So the flat tummy teas, all of those things, and I'm one of the fitness people who I am not against a detox. Now, depending on what the motive is or why you're telling somebody to detox, because they work for one, they're gonna help you lose. So at least the cleanse that I was selling, it was nothing crazy like, do all this weird stuff. It was just getting used to, one, drinking water, two, introducing fruits and vegetables back into your life. That's it. That's what the detox was.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And with those two things, by doing those two things, we had people, stabilize their blood sugar. We had people lose 10, I think the most was 18 pounds. We had people feeling good, sleeping well. They were able to realize that they were just eating because they were bored or just eating because of whatever they saw it. So, but I will tell you that, hey, this will get you results, but it's not something that you want to sustain for an extended period of time. It's not going to make you lose 30 pounds and, no, my idea behind that was, hey, this is something really simple that doesn't involve the gym. It's nothing to be intimidated by. Something really simple that can get somebody a really good result quickly. And then if I can get them to feel better in their body, then it's more likely that they will be like, hey, maybe I can go to the gym, or maybe I can do this next step in my fitness journey. So
just setting a foundation, basically.
Yeah, just getting
the tone.
Yeah, setting the tone, or getting people to feel good, because most people walk around feeling like crap, and they think it's normal. They think it's their normal. After interviewing people who participated in the cleanse, I remember asking one girl specifically, is this something that you just thought was normal? And she said, yeah. She said, I just felt like this. She said, I just thought I was tired all the time because I commute to work. She's a nurse. So she, is she a nurse or a X-ray person. Anyway, she works in a hospital, and she was just like, I just thought I was tired because I commute. You know, I work at a hospital. I do this and I do that. And she said, I just thought that was my normal. Well, she said it was her normal. And she was like, I didn't know I could feel the way that I feel. And that right there is impactful.
Yeah.
You know? And she was like, I don't need coffee anymore. I only drink coffee because when I want to. She was like, I feel as good as I felt when I was running track for Fresno State.
Yo, that's huge.
So, yeah. And it was 10 days. Like, imagine doing that for a year, 2 years.
Right, for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But when you said I thought about, you said running track. Actually, I was thinking about this the whole time. It's like it makes you feel like a kid again. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When you weren't worried about how much energy you were, how much energy you had, or how much energy you were spending. You just went. You know what I mean? You weren't worried about that. Like, oh, I'm gonna be tired later, so I might as well start resting now. And you sit on your phone for whatever. You just don't have that that energy. But I thought about, feeling like a kid again, man. That's what I felt like too when I first took it. When I first did your 10-day cleanse, all them juices and stuff, I was just like, it was like the first 3 days were brutal because your body relies on all that trash.
Yeah.
And then you tell it like, no, we're not doing that. And then, it starts after the 3rd day, it's just like, oh shoot, this is okay. We're good. And then you just feel great. It's like, you know what I mean? So,
Super Saiyan.
You just go Super Saiyan, bro. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, the industry, man. The industry, I mean, just like any industry, you're going to have the white hats and black hats, man. You're always going to have somebody perpetrating fraud. And like you said, though, I like that rule. Like, if there's anybody who's really dogmatic about, like, this is the only way to get fit, then probably don't go that way. But if you find something that you think that you can live with, because it's not just a 10-day thing. It's not just a month thing. It's 2-3 years. It's a lifestyle, like you said. Oh man, it's like getting your feet wet. You know what I mean? Before you get into the pool, just kind of feel like. Just kind of feeling it, feeling it out. Yeah, the toe dip. You have to toe a little dip. But yeah, man, I like that. But I really wish there were a lot more, examples of people who do this, who try this stuff out, and they don't have to look like, like Thor. They don't. You don't have to look like that in order to have a good life. In fact, and then to get the girl or the guy or whatever you're trying to get, you don't have to look like Scarlett Johansson. You can live a pretty good life just being in A shape rather than looking like Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah. I like, and I have it in my Canva account. You said any shape is better than out of shape.
That's facts, bro.
Like, dude, that's dope. I like that.
Yeah, bro. That's facts, man. That's, if we could just get there first, man, and then like the rest of it, I've seen people go crazy, But if you could just get to, I feel good about myself today because I didn't eat trash, or one of the things I'm working on is not eating too late. Like right before I go to bed, which is a terrible habit. Yeah. But
to address that, I mean, there's just so many. You know how long we've been going?
Yet.
But there's just so many different things that are just fitness. You could just talk about fitness for years, right?
Yeah. For days.
You said that you wanted to talk about results, and I just want to give people a realistic perspective. For results, you should try to lose weight at a slow pace. And it sucks to say that, it's not sexy, but you should. Because Well, for different reasons, but you don't want to be so focused on the weight that you blow past the body. You know, a lot of people want to lose weight to look a certain way, right? But if all you're doing is focusing on the scale, your scale goal could be 150, but you look sexy at 170, you know, but you didn't know that because all you were focused on is 150.
Right.
You know, so lose weight slowly also because, like I said, your body has a self-defense mechanism, you know. For people who are chronic dieters, your body will put things in place, and lately, it was thought that we couldn't generate more fat cells in our body. Like we couldn't make more fat cells. Fat cells would either expand or they would get smaller when you lose weight. But now they're saying to preserve itself, your body will actually grow new fat cells. So
perfect.
Yeah, I mean there are. So take your time, go slow. The things that you should be measuring, especially if you're in a gym setting or you're working out while losing weight, which is I 100%, you know, advise you to be moving your body while losing weight, not just dieting, is to see how strong you're getting. That is a really good that's a really good thing to measure. In terms of results, look at things that you can that are on the way to the success, like strength. That's a really good thing to measure because everyone will get stronger in the gym. Everyone will get stronger in the gym. Count things like your willingness to show up. Count that as progress. All of these little things that people tend to look over because they haven't reached their big goal, I think that's really detrimental to your success. So strength is a good one. Measurements, like measuring your waist, because sometimes you won't even lose weight, but you'll get smaller. You know, when you start building muscle, your muscle weighs a lot more than fat does. Well, muscle, like if you took 5 pounds of muscle and you put it next to 5 pounds of fat, 5 pounds of fat is going to be huge. 5 pounds of muscle is going to probably be the palm of your hand. You know, and 5 pounds of fat will probably be your whole arm.
It's like a lot denser.
Yeah, muscle is much more dense than fat is. So fat takes up a lot more space. So yeah, just measure those things, you know, and then to your eating late at night. There's a bunch of different opinions on that, but the reason why I would advise against eating large meals before you go to bed is because your body has to digest that food. And if you're digesting the food while you're sleeping, your body doesn't have the resources to repair the tissues and do the things because it's so busy digesting the big meal that you just ate.
Yeah, but that's where you get the best dreams from, man, when you're digesting.
So yeah, I mean, it's not like it's going to kill your weight loss goal or your weight loss gains, but it's just something to think about. Like all of these systems need resources. So I'm not saying don't eat anything if you're hungry at night, but just stay away from the really heavy meals because your body will be processing that instead of doing what it needs to do while you're sleeping.
Right on. Well, this has been another episode of the Black Leather Couch. We appreciate you guys for tuning in.
Yeah, all of our cameras are cutting off, so we're going to just kind of dip out.
We're going to go ahead and tip on out. All right, we'll see you guys on the next one.
Peace.
Peace.